I was 12, 13 or something like that, and I was at the seaside with my family. Well, I was never an introvert. I was always big on telling stories, you know, pretty much what I'm doing right now. And my father took me to this arcade because video games for me were still a big unknown. And my father said, "Hey, let's go to the arcade, let's play some video games." And lo and behold, we found this arcade in this resort where they had a bunch of games from the classical Space Invaders. What else? There was that game with the skier guy, you know, really blocky old video game where you're the skier guy and you have to lean left and right, you know, to avoid bears, obstacles, trees and stuff like this. It had the Street Fighter, and I remember seeing Street Fighter for the first time as a 14-year-old. No, I was about 13. It blew my mind. Seeing those people so lifelike, throwing fireballs and stuff like that. Huge. But by far the biggest draw, the biggest crowd was around this arcade. There were so many people piled there. I had no idea what they were watching. It was very loud in there, and my father said, "Okay, let's play. What do you want to play?" And I said, "Okay, let's play some Street Fighter." Well, let's play some of this fighting games. So we stand in queue to play Street Fighter. Meanwhile, across the room, despite the noise, we hear these screams like "Hua! Hua! Hua!" But clearly we couldn't see anything because all those people piled up. And at some point we played Street Fighter. I remember with my dad's, I think it was Street Fighter 1. Actually I'm pretty sure it was the first Street Fighter. So I put the coin in, I play a little bit. I get trashed by the first mob, you know how it is. It's pretty exciting though. And I kept glancing back at where the crowd was, where all the screaming and cheering and laughing. So my father asked me, "Hey, wanna check out that game?" So I was like, nah, Dad, you know, let's chill here. We don't need to see that awesome game, right? But after a little while, for some reason the crowds kind of dispersed, people moved away, and lo and behold, my father is there, almost sitting in a queue. He was the man with the initiative, and made room for me to see. And then I died on it. Man, I thought Street Fighter was photorealistic. This was something else altogether. This looked better than movies. I haven't seen many movies with people out to hurt each other like I saw in Mortal Kombat. There were real people fighting on the screen. Awesome looking people. I saw Sub-Zero, Scorpion, these big fuck-all ninjas jumping and kicking and screaming and uppercutting. It blew my mind. My father asked me, "Do you want to play?" I was like, "Oh, no. That is too much. That's too good. That is way too good." So I watched as people played, and I noticed a couple of things. Firstly, that characters, people had favorites, right? This guy picked up Kano and starting to mashing left and right, spinning, throwing knives. But my mind was blown when this guy picked up Sub-Zero. He starting punching in place, you know, and rotating the joystick. And I remember I was wondering, what the hell is he doing that for? Why do you need to rotate the joystick like that? And after punching for 10 seconds straight, Sub-Zero takes a knee and shoots a fireball that freezes the opponent. Mind blown. I remember even reacting pretty loud, like, what the fuck? And then I make the connection, Sub-Zero can freeze people. People ask the guy, how did you do that? I'm not gonna tell you, because that was how it was in the day. There was no internet, there was nobody, there's the actual moveset were not written anywhere. Nobody knew them. You know, people experimented. It was word to mouth. That's how people figured out stuff. My father insisted, though, let's play. All right, Dad, I was super afraid. I was like in a temple of martial arts, and I was unworthy. So, plum, 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 menu screen. Choose your character. And I liked the yellow ninja. I liked him. He seemed cool. When I saw him fighting, I liked that he had this stance with the fist like this and going left and right, and I thought that's some kick-ass combat stance. But I did not know that you could push downward on the joystick, so you can, access the lower characters like Raiden, Liu Kang, and Scorpion. So I did not knew that. I was stuck on Kano, Johnny Cage, Sub-Zero, Sonya. So I keep doing left and right, not knowing how to go down. I don't know. I was a kid. So I picked up... Who I picked up? I picked up Scorpion, I think. Anyway, I fought with my dad. I don't remember who won. But having that power at my fingertips... Jesus Christ. I had that power in my fingertips. I moved that guy around. Anyway, we left. Then we left the arcades. We went back to the hotel, and for two days straight, I could not think of anything else. I was still in that place with my mind. Boom, 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 poof. Sub-Zero. Man, that was... I had no idea how much impact that game will have on me. What happened after that was that I asked my father, can I go to the arcades to play the game again? I was excited. I wanted to play again, and my father gave me some money. Sure, go away. Go ahead. For the reminder of that holiday, I would spend most of my time at the arcade not playing, just watching the game, watching other people play. At some point, a guy comes in, picks up Scorpion. I was so happy. I was so happy. And he does all the moves. He teleports. He throws the spear, uppercuts dudes left and right. A legend. I was enthralled. And he told me, yeah, you do this, back, low punch. You throw the harpoon. You block like this. You go backwards. I could not play what he played, but this opened new unexpected depth to me as a kid. And then he showed me Scorpion's fatality, where you press up, he kept jumping in place, and then and he burned Sonya to the ground to a crispy skeleton. Scorpion wins. Fatality. And the arcade erupted. People asked him, they offered him money. How did you do that? I used to come to these really morning or late ungodly hours when few people were playing, because when the game did not play, it would sometime during, so it showed some demonstration combat, high scores, but then they would show these character introduction, where they played the GIF, small GIF in the middle of the screen, and a couple of words about the character, and you would have Raiden, the god of thunder, the god coming in, waving his hands, doing this animation for 5 or 6 seconds, and then the god of thunder entered the tournament to prove himself, blah 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 blah. Jesus Christ. I used to watch these and I fell in love with the characters. Sub-Zero, Lin Kuei assassin, entered the tournament to assassinate Shenso. Scorpion, a specter from hell. Raiden, the god of fucking thunder. I wrote those biases, but it was English. I only picked up a couple of words, but still, I was in love, man. I was in love. And then we came back to school. Later on, I joined the musical art high school, and by chance I was in a classroom with 3 die-hard Mortal Kombat fans. Didi, my my benchmate, Leonard from the art drawing. We were die-hard Mortal Kombat fans. We went to arcades far, far. Dared the elements, dared the muggers, just to play that fucking game. It was an obsession. We knew the frames for the uppercuts. Now we knew. We knew how to fight. We knew what were the best matchups. And I loved Raiden. I fell in love with Raiden. And I still am. It's still my favorite character in the whole game. The God of Thunder. The blue-eyed lightning wielder Thunder God. I loved Raiden so much that I even made a Chinese, straw hat out of cardboard. I was walking the house. Raiden, lightnings. And upon seeing fatalities, people ripping other people's spines, it didn't do much damage to me as a kid. To be perfectly honest, I thought it to be impressive. But I realized 2 things. Number 1, you don't want to lose to Sub-Zero. You don't want to lose to Sub-Zero. And number 2, those fatalities were they could never happen in real life. Even as a kid, I did not really believe them. Punching someone's head with your fist is something you should do. It never gave me desires to inflict pain on fellow men. It was fine. And I was a kid, 13 years old. Now, in that resort alone, there were 3 joints, 3 arcades with Mortal Kombat. Do you imagine how stupidly popular Mortal Kombat was? That in Romania, in one resort, you had 3 Mortal Kombat arcades. I mean, there was one big arcade that it had it, the big one. There was a hotel which had it in its lobby, and I found out about it because people at the arcades were talking about this, that in case there's too many people at the arcades, we could go there and play. And the third one was in a bar at the back. No joke. Same reason. Few people knew of that place, and we went to play there during the day when the bar was more or less closed. And people played Mortal Kombat and loved it. Each one picked their own champion, and they became clerics of that character. And me, I was with Raiden. And this mentor, this guru guy, who told me, no, you should play with Liu Kang, because his moves are easy to do. 404 that high attack, 404 that high punch, high kick. You do, wow, wacha! It was very easy to do. He told me Raiden is the most difficult character because his jumping kick was a bitch to pull out because he had a very long leg. He had a very good uppercut because it came from a side, it had a long reach. But all his other moves were pretty shit. And the teleport was too slow to avoid any incoming spear in good time unless I knew it was coming in. But I never gave up on Raiden. I was a Raiden cleric. That game stayed with me for years. I went to play it even in arcades that the buttons didn't work properly. Player 1 would always jump up, and player 2 could not go to the side, and there were 3 buttons. And I still played the game. You know, you could teleport with Raiden, go, if you play player 2, you teleport with Raiden, go in the first player, and now you could jump toward the opponent, but you could not go back. So we found a way to play it. The player 1, where the character would be stuck jumping, you could play with Kano to block and throw your knives and do your wheel. So we found ways to play it. I made a lot of friends playing Mortal Kombat. In fact, I think most of my most treasured experiences come from being engaged in that space. I learned a lot. I'll never forget when my friend Alex, Didi, as we call him, we were playing again. We were skipping school going to play Mortal Kombat. We were at the arcades, and then for us, beating the game flawlessly was not a huge deal. We knew how to take advantage of the AI, you know, make the AI do certain moves so we take advantage of and not do damage and not receive damage, because in Mortal Kombat damage is chip, where if you're blocking in your hit you still lose HP. So we knew exactly how to jump over and uppercut and so on and so forth. And Didi fought the first 4 guys. Every fight was won at flawless, I mean no hit taken. And at the last fight on the bridge, he did a double flawless victory and uppercutted the opponent. I don't remember, he was with Johnny Cage. And he did the fatality. When you uppercut someone off the bridge, it falls in the spikes below, and suddenly the screen is starting flashing. And a message appeared: "You found me. Now prove yourselves. Prove yourself." Camera would go down into the pit, stop at the level of the spikes, and the new fight will take place there. Johnny Cage versus Reptile, the hidden character of Mortal Kombat. People started screaming in the arcades. Screaming. I remember people playing left and right some Capcom games, Fatal Fury, some Street Fighter Turbo. All of them were around the machine watching Didi, wide-eyed. Scorpion was a hybrid of Sub-Zero Scorpion. Actually, Reptile was Sub-Zero Scorpion all merged together, fighting, moving really fast, and having all their abilities. It trashed my friend, completely ruffle stomp him. But that was beside the point. We discovered the secret character. All those messages during the game. You'll find me at the bottom of the pit and all those things. So yeah, Mortal Kombat. I loved it. I come from Romania. My neighborhood was very tough, and I was not a problematic child, but I got in fights almost every day. Every day I fought someone. But when I say fights, I don't mean slapping people around or intimidating, spitting on someone. No, I mean someone is not gonna be walking straight in a while. Fights. And I used to fight everybody because I did martial arts. I was extremely confident. And Mortal Kombat played a little bit. Have to admit, Mortal Kombat gave me some of that strength that I had to rely. I was so apt at fighting people that people would come to my not to my house, but to the area where I lived, and would call for me because they knew me by name and they want to fight me. And yeah, I took a lot of inspiration from Mortal Kombat. I mean, not jumping, you know, but the down movement, the leg sweep. Man, I was vicious. Just to fuck with the guy, I usually got in fights. I used to take either Sub-Zero's stance, which was leaning back and forth with the hand like this, hand down to the ground. But my favorite Mortal Kombat stance to actually use in a fight was Scorpion's, which was body straight, hand like this, left hand down, and then turning and swiveling from left to right. It actually was pretty sound because I was able to react quickly with my left, dodge and bob out of the way, because you know when you're in a fight you're not supposed to block, or you know, you're supposed to dodge, make the opponent whiff attacks, so you can jump in, and you know, do your thing. So yeah, Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat is one of the 4 games that made me dream during the day, and it still has a lot of influence when I think of characters, not only fighting games. I'm not saying the Mortal Kombat characters are the best characters ever written, but the likes of Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Raiden. Man, I love these characters. I love them, especially Raiden. I dreamt so many times that I had lightning powers, that I could just kind of gather the lightning, you know, and make it surge forth. I used to practice the human torpedo of Raiden a lot. That sounds really stupid, but basically I would run, leap forward with my hands, and achieve, you know, and you know, kind of jump in parallel to the ground for as long as I could before landing and rolling on the ground. And I used to do that a lot, everywhere. Not because I was a kid, and you know, when you're a kid, you take your superhero role model, you want to be like him. But because I really wanted to be a kick-ass God of Thunder, and I believed that with all my heart. And well, you know, I grew out of it, starting playing other games. Mortal Kombat 2 I played a lot, Mortal Kombat 3 even more on Mega Drive. But then I fell out of this game, you know. I played other games, I discovered new characters. But Mortal Kombat, it's something I will always be excited and thankful for. I am very thankful for Mortal Kombat.